So what I'm going to show you in this video is what scales multiple businesses to 8 figures plus. And it's one of the things that gets overlooked so much in the startup phase, but as you scale, this is how you scale. So this is all about lifetime customer value. So the problem is when you're first starting out, you've got this pool of customers, right? And all those people there's a big blue ocean for you because you're going to reach the people most likely to buy first. Problem is, as you scale, you're reaching a wider and wider audience. So as you reach that wider audience, what happens next is then your cost to acquire a customer goes up. Now, there's things you can do to offset that. You can do conversion rate optimization. You can do things on the page. You can run better ads. You can write better copy. You can do all that stuff, right? And that will give you gains. However, the biggest thing you can do that will affect things more than anything else is improving the lifetime customer value. So, well, if you think about it, let's say your conversion rate right now on your sales page is, I don't know, 5%, right? If it's at 5% right now, realistically, you might take it to 6.5, something like that, right? So you take it to 6, that's a 20% lift. Problem is, the cost of ads is going up 20% as well. So if the cost of ads is going up at that rate, then you're not, even though you're improving the conversions, you're not actually making any more money. You're just keeping the CPA at the same as it was before, that cost per acquisition. So instead, the good thing about LTV is there's no limit, there's no cap on top. So you can double it, triple it. Like, you don't max out at 100%. There is no 100% with lifetime customer value. So you can take this process, but of increasing the lifetime customer value and then make more per customer, which means you can outspend all your competitors. I mean, it means it doesn't matter what you spend to acquire a customer within reason, because you're making more per customer. So lifetime customer value is basically, if you think of it like this, right? So Joe Bloggs down the street, your competitor, they're selling the same product that you are. Maybe they're selling that for $100, right? You, on the other hand, are selling that same product for $50. Okay, well, and you're both getting the same conversion rate. So who's winning right now? Joe Bloggs down the street. The difference is Joe Bloggs down the street doesn't have a back-end product. They don't have anything else that actually improves that lifetime customer value. So they sell that $100 and it might cost them $80 to acquire that customer. So they're making, $20 every time they make a sale. But the thing is, once they pay for their staff, and if the ad costs rise a little bit, any hard costs, they're not making any money. Now, you, on the other hand, you're making $50 every time. Well, you're not making anything, actually. You're losing $50 every time you sell a customer. So how does that work? This is called scaling in the negative. So you're losing money initially, but then you make it up with the lifetime customer value, because what Joe Bloggs doesn't see in your funnel is then you've got another product that you're selling after that, right? And that increases the lifetime customer value. So if we think about that and we go, well, actually, we're now selling, our lifetime customer value maybe is $1,000, right? So before, we were spending $100 to make $50. Now we're spending $100 to make $1,000. But we're not making that on the first sale, we're making that after that, right? So we're actually getting 10x return on our ad spend versus Joe Bloggs down the street, he was getting 1.2x on his, right? So it's like significantly less on. Maybe Joe Bloggs is even just about breaking even, and then he's looking at you going, how do these guys keep showing up everywhere? They must be losing loads of money. But it's not. It's what happens behind the curtain. And this is one of the things that when we go into business, we really look at early on, is because if we can improve the lifetime customer value, the rest of the metrics don't really matter. Well, don't matter nowhere near as half as much, right? So there's 3 ways to improve lifetime customer value. Number 1 is do things for a higher price. So if you're selling a product for $100, then how can you either give more access there? How can you create a qualification process and create exclusivity? So really, what do people pay a high price for? They pay for one of four things: either to solve the next problem, to solve more of the same problem. So that's, for example, if you were selling things like supplements, it's like, well, just go and buy more of the same. To make the result faster or make it easier to get the result. So, for example, if you look in the coaching world, you're going to be looking at things like done for you, done with you, and DIY, right? So if it's like, who are you going to pay the most money to? The one that says you've got to go and do it yourself, here's all the info, but you can go and do it. Or are you going to pay more for someone who just solves the problem for you and has the answers to solve your unique problems? Think of it the same with a plumber, right? So you've got a leaky tap. Well, let's say you've got a leaky pipe underneath your sink right now, and it's just spurting water out everywhere, right? It's making a right mess on the floor. So, what do? Well, you're going to go ring a plumber, right? You're not going to go and get a how-to manual and go, how to fix a pipe. Some people will. Some people will go on YouTube and watch a video on YouTube and say, this is how to fix a leaky pipe. Okay, I watched that. That's the DIY version of it. Or maybe I'm going to go buy a quick manual or something of like, I've got a slow leak in the loft and I can fix that. It'll be all right for this week, but I'll order this book or whatever and it'll tell me how to fix it. See, it's quite unlikely to do that, right? Why? Because the problem is immediate. The problem wants to be solved like right now. Okay, so you're going to pay, and the plumber's not going to come along and go, look, come here, I'm going to teach you how to do this for next time, right? They're not going to do done with you, are they? They're just going to turn up. They're going to go, yeah, see your problem. Let me go get my tools. There you go, all sorted. You're like, that was quick. Like, yep, $150, please. What? You're only here 5 minutes? Yep, but I knew what to do. So you pay more to solve that particular problem, right? Because what are you paying for? You're not paying for the time of the plumber. You're paying for the problem that they're solving. Because think about this, what's the cost of inaction of that? So you just let the water leak all over the floor and it keeps leaking and you're like, what do I do? I've got towels down everywhere. It's making a right mess. Then if that didn't get solved, you waited another week for someone to actually come and fix the problem, then what happens? Well, your kitchen's flooded. It's probably got under the carpets, right? It's probably building now damp into the walls. You're going to have a wall replaced. You're going to have new carpets all the way through. How much is the cost of inaction? It's costing you thousands and thousands if you don't do anything. This is why businesses like plumbers or electricians are always in demand. If your house is in the dark and you've got no power and you need someone to come and fix that, you're probably going to do that pretty quick. This is why if you look at broadband companies, right? Anyone who's giving you internet, they can charge what they want to charge to an extent against whatever the competitors are charging. But I tell you something, if your internet goes off, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to let's say you didn't pay your bill. The first thing you're going to do is ring them up and say, can I pay my bill? Why? Because I cut your internet off, right? And in the modern society, it's like cutting off your right arm. So think about that when you think about things for a higher price. Like, what is the cost of inaction? So if the cost of let's just go over to here for a second. If the cost of inaction is greater than the price of the solution, then people will buy. Right? If I've got to rip out all my carpets because it's all flooded, then the price of that solution is maybe a tenth of that, if not less. Now, do I want to pay it? Probably not, right? I'm not going, I really want to go and pay a plumber today. I'm not going to do that. However, when the price of the solution is significantly less than the cost of inaction, then people buy. Okay, so that's how we look at things for a higher price, is the exclusivity part. So firstly, more access. So we look at a high price, you can give people more access. So that's like the done for you kind of stuff, right? So it might be working one-on-one with you. It might be getting access to an exclusive event or something like that, right? And then you've got qualification. So what you find, especially if you're in the wealth space, for example, as you go further up the higher ticket side of things, you might have pre-qualification that you need to have these certain things before you can start working on this. So you might have a high ticket program that's like, look, anyone comes in, we sell that. However, we've also got this other program on top, which gives you more levels of access. It's more advanced strategies. You get to be in a room with other people that are at a higher level. And that is, so the initial package is like $5,000, but this package is 50,000, right? So if 10% of your people took the 50,000 program, that's adding another 5,000 onto your lifetime customer value, right? Crazy amount. Now that's considering everyone was buying your front end product, right? But if 10% of those people put your higher ticket, you add another 5,000 on there, which means if you were at 1,000 before and now you're at 5,000, every customer's worth 5 times as much. So your cost to acquire a customer could double. You could spend double the amount of your competitors and still make more money. That's where the magic is, right? So the next thing is more sales. So how do you increase lifetime customer value? You don't just have to sell high ticket. You could just sell more of the same. You could sell complementary products. So, for example, in our business, we do a lot of stuff around conversion rate optimization, but also we'll sell some small products around the ad side of things, so like retargeting. We will sell things around offers. We will sell things around sales scripts, right? All those things around there. And then I'll also look them for potential referral partners where we can sell some of their products. Why? Because it's going to increase my lifetime customer value. So the higher the lifetime customer value, the more likelihood we're going to get the right people in. Okay. And then we've got recurring. So we've got performance, retainer, and subscriptions. So recurring wise, if you do subscriptions, that might be like a monthly membership, right? So it could be a monthly membership. It could be like if you're in e-commerce, it would be like t-shirt of the month. You see a lot of these things like Birchbox, for example. They send like makeup samples out each month. And then, but here's their real business model is they make the money from what happens after that. So essentially you're paying to receive samples of their products that then you're naturally going to go and buy from their store afterwards, right? You're going to go and buy the full size versions. So it's very different putting full size versions of a product in a subscription box versus sample products in a subscription box. People are happy to pay to try the samples because you get a wide variety of things to try, and people always like new stuff. But then if you want the full thing, then you go on the site and you go ahead and buy it. So it's the same kind of thing with, like even t-shirts, right? Let's say you had a t-shirt subscription business, and you might say we've got a subscription where you can get this adult t-shirt. But if you've got a his and hers range, right? And you get a t-shirt for you. So it's like a his and hers. So you're actually selling double the amount straight away. So every single month there's a t-shirt for him, t-shirt for her, right? And then instead of one subscription, you got 2 subscriptions. So instead of maybe the subscription being worth like $20 a month, it's actually worth $40 a month. Guess what? You just doubled your business overnight, and you did it with recurring. So that's coming in every single month, which increases the actual value of the business as well if you ever come to sell it. So the other ways of looking at it is like a retainer, right? So do you pay things on a retainer ongoing? So subscriptions can be a little bit more kind of like physical product side of things, but you might pay a service retainer. You might pay a bookkeeper on a retainer. You might pay an accountant, a solicitor, right? You might pay a ads agency on a retainer. And then you've got the third one, which is performance. So if you can build performance model into your business, now this is more complex. This is how we do a lot of our bigger deals is we do performance model. So instead of just a ongoing retainer, people can't you just can't fulfill on that in the best way possible with a retainer model, because you just have to get bunches and bunches of clients. It compresses all your margins down, doesn't make sense, it doesn't work. Performance model incentivize you to grow with the client, right? Whatever your service is. Or when we say performance model, think of it in a different way. It could even be like piece rate and stuff like that, right? So performance model, like this waste management company, I think it's like 1-800 waste or something like that. What they do is they actually charge by the item, right? So they're charging based on the performance of that. They're not saying, yeah, just give us a flat fee and we'll take whatever. They charge by the item. So even if you just want one item taken away, they will do that. Most companies won't. Now they're charging more for that one item than they would for like 20 items, which makes sense. But it means they can open up a bigger customer base because of that and increase their lifetime customer value. Because you can guarantee most of the time when they come to do that and take that one item, they go, oh, by the way, can you take this as well? Yeah, that'll be, we'll just pay here, pay here, pay here, right? So they've got a front end offer that attract people, and then they guide people from there. So that is how we improve LTV. And you can also think of it like this, right? So think of your value ladder. You've got lead magnets. So they're things that just attract people for free. And then you've got self-liquidating offers. They're just designed to break even. So if you can break even on your front end product, then everything else starts to work. Your back end high ticket. So, well, first you got front end upsells. So, like, what are those extra things that you're giving them just after the checkout? Or order bumps as well, which is a little checkbox that you have on the checkout that then increases the average order value, which is increasing your lifetime customer value as well, but also allowing you to spend more to acquire a customer. And then you got the back end high ticket. Now, the problem is when businesses are starting out, they're trying to be profitable from day one. And sometimes, depending on what market you're in, that is difficult, right? Because there's a lot of competition. You haven't got your messaging dialed in yet. You don't know if your offer's working. Is it an offer problem? Is it a traffic problem? Right? You don't know what the problems are, so you end up spending a lot of money without knowing if that money's coming back. So this is where it's important to know as you grow, how long does it take from someone coming into your database for them to become a back-end high-ticket buyer? So we have some clients that are like 90 days, right? So at 90 days, we know that money's coming back and more. So if we scale the ads, we know we're probably going to scale in the negative for a couple of months because we're not getting that money back straight away. Like, we're still going to get some of the money from what happened 2 months ago, but we're not going to get all of it straight away, right? So then it all goes back to what's the cost of inaction, and is the price of solution less than that? Okay. So here's the way to think about it is, if you're selling something for a low price, you want 2x to 3x the value at least. If you can 5x the value, you can sell it for a medium price. If you can 10x the value, you can sell it for a high price. So, for example, with the 2x of the value, right? If I give you some templates and I said, copy and paste these, and it costs you $1 and it'll make you $10, this will show you copy and paste the script and it'll get you, probably make you first $10 sale, right? What's the likelihood that that's going to convert? It'll convert pretty well as long as we can back it up with proof. So same kind of things happened. This is money for money kind of value proposition. So if I give you 10 grand, am I going to make 100 grand? Or if I give you 10 grand, I'm going to make 11 back, because that's quite a high risk investment then, right? And then what's the chances of going to make 11 grand back? You see how there's a lot more margin for error. But if you see hundreds and hundreds of people that are making 100 grand off this 10 grand investment, then more likely to buy, right? At 2x, give me 10 grand, I'll make you 20. It's not as good. Give me $1 and I'll make you 2. I mean, it's a good return if you're looking against the stock market, but if you're looking in kind of wealth building programs, then it's going to be different. If you're selling something that's non-wealth building, so like health or relationships, or just something that's more of a physical product, right? Then you want to be looking at what value does that provide for that person. So value isn't just money. Value can also be time. It can be how it makes you feel, right? So, like, for example, let's say you're selling supplements and you took those supplements every day, and by the end of it, you had double the amount of energy. Well, what does that energy allow you to do? And this is where you have to kind of go, so that what? So if it does this for you, then it will give you that. And then what will that give you? Well, it will give you this. And then if it gives you that, then what will that give you, right? So let's just kind of go down a chain for a second. Is okay, so I buy a journal, right? A journal to document my kids' memories in there, right? So like a journal that's specifically designed in a way where I can journal all the kids' memories. So I buy the journal. Well, why would I buy the journal? Well, it's going to allow me to document the memories. Okay, great. That's a feature, really. So what's the benefit of that? Well, when I look back in 10 years' time, I can look back and remember all those things. Why is that important? Well, when I was a kid, very little was actually documented, and I don't know much about my childhood. So I want to be able to pass on that legacy and be able to tell my kids the stories as they get older. You see how that's now got a lot more value to it. It's not initially, it's here's some paper to write on, right? The value of that is very low. But now it's, you're not buying a piece of paper, you're buying something that will create legacy for the rest of your child's life, right? Something that they can look back on. You're creating memories that can never be forgotten. So that has a lot higher value than just here's some paper. So when you're increasing lifetime customer value, this is one of the most important metrics that you can look at in your business to improve. So ask yourself these questions. When was the last time I looked at improving my lifetime customer value? Then ask yourself, how many people are buying my highest, most expensive product? And then if the answer is more than one, then you need another more expensive product on top of that, right? If no one's buying that product, then look at improving to get someone to buy that product. However, if you've got lots of people buying your highest ticket product, you want to create another tier above that, because that's where the money is, right? Because out of the 1,000 people who buy your high ticket, you might get, then let's say you even got 10 of those people to give you 10 times that amount. So that puts a lot more revenue into the business. Okay. So ask yourself those questions: is how many people are buying my highest, most expensive program right now? If that is low, then look to improve it. If it is high, what else can I sell them that is higher price than that I'm not currently selling at? Do those two things, that can double or triple your business in the next 12 months.